So where did the 2x squared come from? It came from the 2x times the x. That 2x times x gives us this 2x squared. And then the negative 6 comes from the positive 3 times the negative 2. This last times last position gives us the last thing, which is kind of nice because we've sort of filled in our bubbles. Where does this negative x come from? Where does the negative x come from? Combining like terms. The negative x comes from this outer product and the inner product, what I lovingly call the rainbow. Or maybe since I drew it upside down, it looks more like this, a smile. All right, check the smile, yeah? So I always say something like that, either check the rainbow or check the smile, because those two middle terms give us this little middle guy. So that's what we're going to do today. We are going to break apart our first and last term and fill in these, what I lovingly call bubbles, double bubble, okay? I know, it's great, double bubble. That's the idea. Set up your structure, and then we'll double check by checking the smile or checking the rainbow, however you want to think about that. But here we go. Easy stuff first. Example 1, factor out the GCF. If you want to write GCF, you can. Factor out the GCF, greatest common factor, GCF. Factoring out the greatest common factor is always the first step of factoring, the most important step. And you can see the first one actually says distribute, but everything else is the directions. We actually want you to factor. But I want you to know what we're doing, where it comes from. Sort of the going forward first and then backwards. So letter A says distribute. We have 2 times the quantity, 3x minus 5. And what are we going to distribute? The 2, absolutely. And distribute really means multiply. So we're going to multiply 2 times 3x, which gives us 6x. And then we have 2 times negative 5, which gives me negative 10. Great. And so this is the multiplied form. This is the product. What we want to do is be able to take this product and reverse it. Go backwards, undistribute. That's the goal. So we have to ask ourselves, hey, what do these 2 terms have in common? They can both be divided by 2. All right, so instead of multiplying by 2, we can reverse the process and divide by 2. And that's our goal. When we say factor, we are unmultiplying. Okay, so if I have 16 minus 2x, I'm going to say, hey, what do they have in common? A 2. They have a 2. So we can divide out a 2. And really what we're going to do is just rearrange it. We're going to pull that 2 out in front. And essentially it is dividing by 2 instead of multiplying. When I divide by 2, what's left behind? 8 minus x. Yeah, 16 divided by 2 is 8. 2x divided by 2 is x. And this is factored form. Remember, factors are just things that we multiply together. This is 2 times a group. Those are factors. Okay. Let's look at letter C. Ask ourselves, hey, what do they have in common? What do they have in common? They both have x. Yes, they both have x's. Look at that. There's an x and there's a couple of x's. So yes, we can divide out the x from each piece. And all we're doing is relocating it. We're locating it to the head of the class and saying, hey, what's left behind? What is 2x cubed divided by x? 2x squared. Very good. So what's really happening here? This is 2 times x times x times x. X cubed is x times x times x. Divided by x. Put x on top and x on bottom. Cancel out, reduce. And we're left with x's squared. Okay. What's negative 3x divided by x? Negative 3. Again, the x's happen. That was awesome. That was great. Have you ever asked Siri what is 0 divided by 0? Yeah. Did she give you the Cookie Monster answer? I love the Cookie Monster answer. It's so funny. Okay. Last one here. Factor 16x squared plus 56. What do they have in common?
8.
8? Okay. Did anyone think anything else? I thought 2. Yeah, right? 2 is true. But is it the greatest common factor? No, it is a common factor, but it's not the biggest. Okay. So 8. So again, we can divide each of these by 8 and pull that 8 out in front. 16x squared divided by 8 is what? 2x squared. 16 divided by 8 is 2. And 56 divided by 8 is 7. How do you know if you did it right?
You could double check.
You could double check it how?
By distributing.
Redistributing. Absolutely. Check by multiplying. That's the beauty of this. You can always check your answer, right? Super awesome. 8 times 2x squared is 16x squared. 8 times 7 is 56. So it is super easy to check your work. Okay? Questions on greatest common factor? Okay. Let's try example 2. This is the bones, the meat of the matter today. Example 2, factor the trinomial. What is a trinomial?
It's 3 variables.
3 terms. Close. 1, 2, 3 terms. 1, 2, 3 terms. This also works sometimes for factoring the binomial. Sometimes. But typically we'll start by seeing these as trinomials, and then we'll get better. So our first one here is x squared plus 11x plus 18. And our goal is double bubble. Anytime you see factor, I'm going to be like, can you double bubble? That's what that means, double bubble. And why do I say that? I say that because double bubble allows us to set up a structure that we need to fill in. All right? Factor means double bubble. And we're going to set up this structure. It's got a first position and a first position, and a second position and a second position. And we're going to fill in these little blanks, all right? Fill in the structure. So we're going to ask ourselves, well, how did we get x squared? Where did it come from? It came from x times x. The first times first thing gives us that x squared. X times x gives us x squared. And then we do the same thing. Last times last is going to give us this last thing. What times what gives me positive 18? Give me a list. Positive 9 times positive 2. What else? 6 times 3. What about negative 9 times negative 2? Does that also give me positive 18?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. And also negative 6 times negative 3? Yeah. And 18 times 1? And negative 18 times negative 1. Okay, which one do we want? 9 and 2. Why 9 and 2? Because the 9 and the 2 also make our middle term, which is really kind of handy. Now, that doesn't work all the time. So, we're going to start with a list, and I'm going to write a positive 9 and a positive 2. And it doesn't matter if you put the 2 on the inside and the 9 on the outer, the first one. First slot or second slot, doesn't matter. We're going to check the rainbow. We are always going to get in the habit of checking the rainbow. We're going to, or the smile, but I like the rainbow. We're going to check the rainbow just to make sure we get this middle term. So, we're going to multiply x times 2. What is that? 2x. And 9 times x, 9x. And when we add those together, what do we get? 11x. All right? I want you to get in the habit of always checking the rainbow because these are easy. The next set are hard. And if we get in the habit of always checking the rainbow to get that middle term, we'll do it right every single time. Okay? Let's look at letter B. X squared minus 3x, or sorry, plus 3x minus 28. We are factoring. We are double bubbling. And I'm going to fill in the first thing. I got a second spot to fill in. And we'll check the rainbow for the middle term. Ladies and gentlemen, what times what is x squared? X times x is x squared. Very good. Now the trickier part. What times what is negative 28? Negative 7 times 4. Very good. Or positive 7 times negative 4. You can switch the signs, all right? What other options do we have? 14. Negative 14 times 2 or negative 2 times 14. You get that one of them has to be negative to get a negative result. Okay, all right. And also 28 times 1. Which one do you think we want?
Negative 7 times 4, positive 7 times negative 4.
Does it matter?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I'm hearing lots of people trying.
No, it's
Oh.
7, negative 4.
All right, positive 7 and negative 4. Let's see. Positive 7 and negative 4. Let's make sure. How do we double check? Check the rainbow. That's the best thing to do. Check the rainbow for the middle term. So let's see. We have x times negative 4 is negative 4x. 7 times x is 7x. And when you add those together, what do you get? Positive 3x. The positives win here. So we did it perfectly correctly. This is the factored form. If you put x minus 4 times x plus 7, is that the same thing? If your bubbles are switched, that's just fine. Okay? The order doesn't matter in a product. X squared plus 5x minus 24. We're going to double bubble. Double bubble. Ladies and gentlemen, what times what is x squared? X times x is x squared. Very good. Last times last has to be negative 24. What times what is negative 24? Okay, negative 3 times 8 and negative 8 times 3. What else? What other numbers we got? Negative 4 times 6 or negative 6 times 4, negative 12 and 2, vice versa. Okay, 24 and 1. Lots of possibilities here. Which one do we want? Negative 3 and 8. Let's check. Negative 3, positive 8. Fill in those blank spaces. And how do we make sure we did it right? Check the rainbow. Check the rainbow. Or smile. Whatever. I just like take the rainbow because it's like taste the rainbow, which, hey, next week. All right, when we check the outer product here, x times 8 is, and negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And when we add those together, what do we get? 5x. We did it correctly, okay? So the way I teach this is that it builds in your double check. All right? Anytime you check that rainbow, you're checking your work. Get used to it. All right, letter D. Set up your double bubble. Set up your structure. First times first has to be the first thing. What times what is x squared? X times x is x squared. Last times last has to be the last thing. Our last thing is negative 72. What times what is negative 72? 8 times 9. Negative 8 times positive 9 would give us negative 72. Vice versa, negative 9 times 8. Others?
That's what you want.
Well, that is the one I want. But I'm just... Here. The number one reason people fail algebra is because they can't multiply. This is why. So checking our math here, 72 is also a product of 12 and 6. So negative 12 times 6 or negative 6 times 12. Lots of possibilities. 72 and 1. I'm sure there are others. 18 and 2. 18 and 3. Something like that. All right. Which one do we want? 8 times negative 9, I heard. Negative 9 times 8. Negative 9 and a positive 8. How are we going to make sure we did it right? Check the rainbow. Check the rainbow. All right, when we check the rainbow here, x times 8 is 8x, and negative 9 times x is negative 9x. And when we combine those, we get negative 1x. So we did it totally correctly. The middle term comes from the rainbow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, being able to factor fast is like so awesome. We want to be able to do it super fast. Last one, here we go. Example 3. What's different about example 3? Got a number in front, not just x squared. These are slightly more challenging. The nice thing is the same process works perfectly, but it's a little more of a guess and check. Example 3 factor. We have 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. We're going to double bubble. And we're going to set up our structure. First times first has to be 2x squared. What times what is 2x squared? 2x times x. 2x times x would give us 2x squared. Very good. Then, last times last has to be the last thing. What times what is positive 6? 2 times 3 or negative 2 times negative 3. What else? 6 times 1 or negative 6 times negative 1. Okay, that is the list of all the factors of positive 6. Do any of these make a 7?
Yeah.
6 and 1. Do you think that's the one that's going to work? Yeah, let's try it. 6, positive 6, and positive 1. Let's check. How do we check? Rainbow. Check the rainbow. Let's check that rainbow. Let's see what happens when we check our outer product here. What do we get? 2x times 1 is 2x, and 6 times x is 8x. And did that work? No, failed. Could we change the position of the 6 and the 1?
Yeah.
We could. Let's switch and see. If we move the 6 on the outside and the 1 on the inside. Now what's the outer product here? 2x times 6 is 12x times 1x. Did we get it? No. 6 and 1 does not work. This is because of the number in front. All right? It makes it more challenging. We have a guess and check method, and eventually you'll get good at it. What else do you want to try now? 2 and 3, for sure. Let's try 2 and 3. I'm going to put the 2 on the outside and the 3 on the inner piece here. Now, let's check our rainbow here. 2x times 2 is 4x. And 3 times x is 3x. And when we add those together, we get 7x. Okay? So you do have to be careful. And that's where teaching you to check the rainbow is the best thing. Okay? Just check your rainbow and make sure you did it right. Let's look at B. We've got 5x squared plus 39x plus 28. We're going to double bubble. We're going to double bubble. What times what is 5x squared? 5x times x 5x times x would be 5x squared. You'll notice that this is a prime number, just like the 2, the 5, and the 2, the 3, they're all prime. Those are the only choices, 5 times 1. 5x times 1x is 5x squared. Last times last has to be positive 28. Lots of options here. What should we try? 7 times 4? Or negative 4 times 7? What else do we have? 16 times 2? Or negative 16 times negative 2? 28 and 1? I think that's it. What do you want to try? 7 and 4. Let's try that first. Where should we put the 7, do you think?
On the right side.
On the right side. So let's put the positive 7 on the right side and the positive 4 in the inside piece, or left side. You'll get good at this. So let's check our rainbow, make sure we did it right. 5x times 7 is 35 x's. 4 times x is 4x. And when we combine those, what do we get? We get 39x. Check. We did it perfectly. Okay? I think it's very helpful to make a list because you can kind of see before you place stuff. Oh, that's going to give me 20 and that 27. That wouldn't work. So let me place it on the outside. That became 35. That's close to 39. So sort of seeing ahead of time what's happening. 5x squared plus 7x plus 2. What first times first has to be the first thing. What times what is 5x squared? 5x times x. Very good. Last times last has to be the last thing. What times what is 2? 2 times 1 or negative 2 times negative 1. Don't forget about the negatives. Whoops. What I wrote there. Let's see. Okay, what do you want to try? Obviously the positive 2 and the positive 1. Where should we put the 2 on this outer piece here?
On the right side.
Out here on the right side or in the left side? Positive 2. Let's put it on the left and the 1 on the right. Alright. Double check your rainbow. We have 5x times 1 is 5x. And 2 times x is 2x. And when we combine those, that gives us our middle 7x. So yay, we did it correctly. Great. Last one, ladies and gentlemen. 5x squared plus 29x plus 20. Double bubble. First times first has to be the first thing. What times what is 5x squared? 5x times x. Too many 5s here. I don't know how that happened. Then last times last has to be positive 20. What times what is positive 20? 2 times 10 or negative 2 times negative 10. What else we got? 4 times 5 or negative 4 times negative 5. And 20 times 1. What do you want to try? 4 times 5. All right. Where should we put the 4? On the I heard the second place and I heard the left. What do we think? 4 on the left. Positive 4, positive 5. Let's double check our rainbow, and if it wasn't right, all we'd have to do is switch positions. All right. 5x times 5 is 25 x's, and 4 times x is 4 x's, and when we add those together, 25 and 4 gives us that 29x, so we did it right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, do you have any questions for me? First times first has to be the first thing, last times last has to be the last thing, and it's always, always, always check your rainbow. Check the rainbow, ladies